Hi, everybody. Welcome to Continental Confidential Live. This is number 19 with our special guest, Henri Herbert.
Hi,
Welcome, Henri. Good to have
thank
you
you.
here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I never know whether to say Henri or Henry.
It's definitely Henry.
Okay. You don't use the French pronunciation?
I not really. I mean, when I'm in France, all my family in France call me Henri, but
Uh-huh.
over here it's Henry. Yeah. Any English-speaking countries is Henry.
Gotcha. Uh, and so, how long have you been in the United States?
I've been here for nearly 2 years now.
Uh-huh.
Moved here in March 2019.
And it was just about a year ago that you started your residency at Seaboys, wasn't it?
It was I think it's a bit more than that. It was I think I started it in July
Oh, and then
2019.
you left for a while, or
I was leaving often to go on tour in Europe and a few other places, but then we carried that on until um, till the pandemic started and everything
uh-huh.
shut down. I miss it.
Hmm. I know that our employees over there miss seeing you too.
Oh well, I miss them. I miss them a lot.
Uh-huh. And I sure enjoyed it on the few nights that you came and sat in over at the Continental Club too.
Oh, thanks. I used to love that. Like I'd sit in with Willie on Sundays.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes we'd do our own band shows there with
Right.
Willie and Tom.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes,
Willie.
one time I played with Dale there. I
Uh-huh.
played with lots of different people. Yeah.
Right. I know Willie Pipkin has always managed on Sunday nights, which is a late night show.
Yeah,
And
I love that show.
he's always managed to bring in cream of the crop talent to play with him for that. So that's been really a joy to work that show and get to hear people that I might not ordinarily get to hear on a regular basis.
I love Sundays because I got to see Hay Bale as well, and um, then then sometimes play with Willie after, or if not, listen to Willie after, and it was always fun.
Right.
Because I love Hay Bale, I think they're terrific, and Earl is a great friend of mine and a great inspiration on the piano. So
Yep.
it's just, real,
And he's
real good band.
okay. We've got someone else joining us. And I am going to, oh, thank you. And so, why did you move to the US? Because you had a pretty burgeoning career in the UK and in France, and you toured a lot, didn't you?
I did, yeah, and the reason I moved here is because with my life in Europe was based around touring and then stopping touring, and I wanted to have somewhere where I could go and see. I call it roots music. It's any kind of roots like blues, country, rockabilly, rock and roll, soul, all that kind of stuff, and,
Right.
go and see it live all the time, and real good stuff like there is here, which every night of the week, fantastic music like I said, Hay Bale on Sundays, and then could go and see Emily Gimbel playing Friday night at the Gallery.
Uh-huh.
Could go and see Matt Hubbard playing on a Wednesday. All these great players, and it was just. I first come here in 2016 to play at South by Southwest, and I didn't really know Austin at all. I knew of Austin, and then I ended up spending about a month here, and I just decided that I should come and live here, and because then when I wasn't on tour, I could have maybe a few residencies around town and play with some great players and have a local scene that I could be involved in, and could go out and listen to great music all the time.
Right. I think Austin becomes a jaded audience because we have so many choices of, A-class musicians playing on any given night of the week here.
Well, I don't know if jaded is the word. I think more people get used to great things when they're happening all the time. I think, I don't know if, I wouldn't say jaded, I would say they just got used to a great thing and it's become normality.
Right. Well, it's true, because it's always easy to say, oh, well, I saw Henry last week. I'll maybe skip this week and maybe go next week.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, I think if so, yeah, I think, but I like that because I like that. I find that a great motivator to practice and to put new material in. And I've been writing all the new stuff here while there's been no gigs, and I've been just trying to get new songs into the repertoire and new ideas.
Right. And now you've actually been live streaming since the pandemic began.
Yeah, I've done the occasional live stream. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you have also you're teaching lessons.
Yeah, I do some online lessons too. Yeah, I've got a few pupils who are doing really well at the moment. Luckily, I can, because it's all online. It opened up the whole world, so I can teach people in Australia and anyone really who wants to learn more advanced boogie woogie piano styles. I teach those guys.
And how's the best way for people to reach you if they're interested in lessons?
I would say just go to my website and click the link to contact me by email.
Okay. And you've also got a Patreon now.
I do.
And tell us about that.
Well, I've started to write a book about how to play boogie piano, and that's accompanied by a video series that I've made at the East Austin Piano Shop, which is a great place here that have been doing some great live streams with some people that I know. And I've been well, first I made the videos, and then I started a Patreon to raise money to complete the project, to make a book and to get everything transcribed as sheet music. So that's what I'm working on right now. And it's been great that people have supported that project. And if you become a member, you get all the videos free, and you get the book as it is written. You get the pieces of the book that come out, and then eventually the book will be released in March, made available to the public, and all the videos as well.
That's very interesting, because I've thought about doing the same thing myself, and I haven't done it yet, but maybe now I will.
The Patreon page. Oh, I think you should totally do it.
Yeah. I've considered doing that, and there is a new series that I'm going to be doing that is part of the Continental Confidential line. That I will be doing as a Patreon starting sometime this spring.
Cool.
And the premise of it is, it's been mostly songwriters that have done this live stream with me. And I'm asking each of them to choose a song to then come on, and it's probably only going to be about 20 minutes long, but they're going to talk about how that song came to be and what it meant to them when they wrote it, and what's happened with it since they've released it or since they've performed it, and that sort of thing. So that's coming up in the spring.
That's cool.
So one of the things that I like to start off with, Henry, is tell me about your very first gig.
Okay, well, my very first gig, I think, depends what you call a gig. I think there's times where I played for my family at gatherings when I was a kid. But maybe the first time I was played to people who were paying me money to play, I was 16, and it was in the UK. It was with a folk rock band run by my friend who lives in the east of England, and he invited me to play 30 minutes ish before they started playing. And that was my first gig.
And how
wedding? This was at a wedding somewhere. I went there.
And people loved it, I bet.
Some people loved it, yeah. Not everybody.
And were you already bitten by the performance bug before that, or did that really get you?
I wasn't ever. I became bitten by the performance bug much later on than that, because I just liked playing piano, and I was a bit embarrassed to play in public, and I had a few gigs come and go. I was always accompanying others, or I was rarely doing my own thing. But later on, in my mid-20s, I joined a band that toured a lot, and I had to perform, be a performer, and I quite liked it and enjoyed it. And then that's when I decided to start doing more of my own stuff.
And tell me about songwriting. How long have you been writing your own songs?
I've been writing my own songs about 6 years now. Not very long.
And do you enjoy the process? And what is your process? Do you write a melody first and then add lyrics, or is it all instrumental you prefer?
Both. Like I like to do instrumental things, and I like to do singing things. The ideas, I keep my notepad around, and when the ideas pop into my head, I write them down or record them. I've got this great device, is a Tascam recorder, and it sort of sits. It sits here, and then if I get an idea, I just record it quickly. And sometimes I have ideas that sit for years. Like when I've been writing now with the guys, we have some ideas that I come up with years ago that they come back when the right circumstances happen. They just come back into my mind, and I'm like, oh yeah, that idea. Let's see what we can do with that idea. And then sometimes things just come in one go. So I don't think there's any rules really.
And so did you, and when you first started songwriting, did you have like Post-it notes all over the place, or was everything then done on your phone?
I had a pad of the paper, and everything was in there. Yeah.
I remember when songwriters used to walk around with one of those little notebooks stuck in their back pocket to pull out whenever they needed it.
I think the process of writing things by hand is I prefer that to on a computer.
Yeah, I'm still a hand writer. I prefer that. And they say that you remember better what you have handwritten.
I think so, yeah. I agree.
And so when did you start recording I know you've got a few CDs.
Yeah, right? I've got a few albums and EPs and things. I recorded with other bands up until actually, I did record a few of my own things when I was younger. I did a solo CD when I was about 16, 17. And I did one with my grandfather, who plays drums, around the same time. And then I did loads of stuff for other people's projects, like all kinds of things, like all kinds of music. Then started recording my own stuff in 2015, my own compositions.
And so is anyone else, you said your grandfather plays drums, is anyone else in your immediate family a musician?
Yeah, my dad is a guitarist. And my cousin, a few of my cousins play guitar, and my great uncle also plays guitar. A lot of people in France who play guitar, they like playing that jazz, like Django Reinhardt type stuff. That's what they're into.
Right. And so how early did you start playing piano?
I think when I was about 5, I started.
And was that with lessons, or just kind of started playing on the piano?
Both. I had a few lessons, but I was kind of lazy and I didn't practice what the teacher showed me. I just played boogie woogie and rock and roll stuff. I discovered Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard.
Uh-huh.
My teachers were all like, "No, you mustn't play that stuff. You have to play this stuff." And I rebelled against it and just wanted to play rock and roll and blues. And I think I probably should have practiced their stuff because I would have learned more things. But I was just a foolish child and I didn't know any better.
It doesn't sound to me when I hear you as though you needed more lessons.
I think so. I think everyone is able to improve. I'm actively taking lessons now to improve.
Oh, good for you.
There's loads I don't know about music.
Uh-huh.
Loads. So
well, it never hurts to learn more.
No, it doesn't. No.
And when you keep on learning, that's how you stay young too. Keep your brain
active. I believe so. Yeah. I did stop learning for a while when I started learning again when I moved to Austin.
Uh-huh.
And that's another thing I've gained from Austin is just I've learned so much about music from the other players here.
Right. And so when you started performing, you were already doing boogie woogie piano at that point?
Yeah.
And do you play other instruments or just piano?
Just piano.
And you have a great voice, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Well, I appreciate that. I just is what it is.
Well, it's right for what you do.
Thank you.
And so since you've moved to Austin, where all have you been playing and who have you been playing with and what's been your Austin path?
Well, first I've been coming here for a long time before I moved here. From 2016 up until 2019, I would always, if I was ever in the States, I would come to Austin. And I was very lucky because I had a lot of good people there who helped me out. They let me stay on their couch and they let me stay in their place and drove me around and did all sorts of things for me. And I'm still to this day very grateful for that. And I was just, I was sort of fortunate enough to play with some great people from very early on, like Mike Buck and the drums, and a guy called Tim on the bass, Tim McMaster, who's left Austin now, and Tom Lewis and Danny B. Harvey, a few others, and I got to know. I met Steve. I remember I sat in one time with Charlie Sexton, Will Sexton, and a band called the Mystic Knights of the Sea, the Continental Club.
Right.
And I met Steve that night, and Steve and I stayed in touch over a few years. And I was going to move in February a few years ago, but it didn't happen. The US immigration system is quite a challenging thing to navigate. And I moved here for a while, then I had to leave, and came here again for a bit, and I had to leave. And Steve offered me residency, and Dennis O'Donnell, the White Horse, also offered me some work. And I thought if I could just get here and see what happened. If it didn't work out, I could always return to England. And I just got in with the right crowd, I think, and of good people who were willing to help out.
Right. And well, once Steve likes somebody, he's pretty loyal to him.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad of that.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be expecting you back on Tuesday nights at Steve Boys once we
please.
Open again.
Let's have a great time playing those Tuesday nights.
Yeah, it's definitely I'm sorry, I was just looking at this. It's definitely a great place to be playing.
I love that club. It's a fantastic club.
Yep, it is. And also, let me see. Tracy, could I ask you to stop your video, please? Or, well, I don't know why you're showing up here. Okay, you don't have your video on. Okay.
Yeah, it's not on. I don't understand why it's up there.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, that's fine. So now tell me, who were your, I know that you've had quite a few experiences here in Austin, but who were your other influences?
Oh, the great rock and rollers like Little Richard and Jerry Lee, Fats Domino, Chuck Berry, all the great blues artists like Muddy Waters, Otis Spann, and a lot of guitar players like Freddie King, John Lee Hooker, and Albert King, and then all the great country artists like Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, all the greats, all the great artists that I love. Yeah.
And that's a great list of influences to have. Kind of the cornerstones of American music.
Yeah, just great stuff that I still listen to a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Albert Hammond's, I have an Albert Hammond 78 here on my, just for inspiration whenever I'm practicing. I just have this here to try and get some good vibes off of it. Yeah.
I know that, was it Long John Baldry that did Don't You Lay No Boogie Woogie on the King of Rock and Roll? Do you know that song?
I've heard that, yeah.
And to me, that was always funny because it's like they're so kind of intertwined. It's like
it is the same. It's pretty much the same music. It's like it is the same.
And so I know that you've got a lot going on with not so much the live streams anymore, but with teaching and with your Patreon and everything. What do you have coming up, or what do you see coming up for you over the next, say, 6 or 8 months?
Well, we've been getting together. We started in the summer. We had a getting together outside with Kevin Charco and Tom. Did socially distanced jam to try and figure out some new music. We started just playing music that we like, just because none of us had played for ages, and we wanted to play. And so we started playing a lot of Ray Charles music and a lot of classic stuff that we love. And then I've started to bring a few of my songs to the table that I've written, and we started learning those. And every week I'd bring in another one and a few others, and sometimes they didn't work, sometimes they worked. And so without really intending to, we've just sort of amassed a load of new material, and so I would hope to record that at some point and put it out. Also, I'm excited that my book's coming out in March, and I'm excited I have a live streaming on February the 5th. It's this the Cincinnati Blues Festival has a piano concert that's all being streamed live with myself and some other piano players, all doing 15 minutes each, and it's been emceed by Marcia Ball. He's a fantastic. Well, I don't need to tell you about Marcia Ball. She's a legend, but and so I'm excited to be a part of that. And I just would like to. I have a vague plan of playing in Europe again, in the UK, but that's far off in the future.
Right.
So I'm focusing on what I can do here right
now. And so, since you've been here, is there any part of American life that has been surprising to you?
Yeah. In the shows here are very long. They're like 3 hours or 4 hours. And for me, I was used to playing 45 minutes or an hour. So suddenly I had to learn loads more stuff and develop more stamina to last longer on the stage. So that was quite new, but everyone was telling me that's the norm around here, like 4-hour shows. So, you know, you better get it together, Henry, because it's 4 hours there. So I was like, okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah. And then, so that was quite fun to other than that, not really too many surprises, no. Because I came here quite a lot with trips, and so I gradually got accustomed to many things rather than being very surprised by them.
And when you talk about the length of gigs, back in the day, there used to be a club on 6th Street called the Black Cat.
I've heard about this club.
And at the Black Cat, Paul Sessoms, the owner, insisted that you play 4 hours. And sometimes you got a break and sometimes you kind of didn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we had a show in Europe, a festival called Davos Jazz Festival in Switzerland. It was 2 hours or 3 hours for the shows, and sometimes you do 2 shows a day. It was in a town, and they booked the bands to play for the whole week. And when we went there, we were playing quite heavy rock and roll music, and so they all said they told us we were too loud, we were playing too loud, too fast, too angry, and they said you must turn down, you must play slower. And so but then all the other bands were playing for like 20 minutes, then take a break, then sit at the bar. So we thought we're gonna just play straight through for 2 hours, and we did. And then the governor, I always say that the governor, in British English, the governor is just whoever's in charge of the situation. It's the governor.
Right.
Over here, doesn't mean the same thing. But he said, "Wow, you guys played without a break. We love you guys." So we won them over by not taking any breaks. And so through what I learned here of long gigs, I was able to make it work in Europe, which I was quite happy about.
Right. I think Dale Watson is probably our only one that's still kind of a marathon player.
I sat in with Dale at the Continental Club, and he didn't take any breaks.
No, he doesn't take.
It went by just so quickly. Suddenly, it was a long show, but I enjoyed it so much. It just went.
Yeah, he used to start at 10:15, and it used to be he would play from 10 till 2.
Yeah.
And that now it's shortened a little bit. He starts at 10:15 and he ends at 1:30, 1:45. So, you know, it's a little bit shorter than it used to be, but only by minutes. So I know that there's a lot of piano players in this town.
Oh yeah, loads of great piano players here.
And so I would assume you probably make the rounds going to see as many of them as you can.
Yeah, like I learn from them as well. Like when I first started coming there, I went to hang out with Earl. Earl showed me a few things, and there's some great players. Emily Gimbel, I think, is fantastic.
Yes.
Lloyd Domino is great. And these are like sort of legendary musicians I was aware of before I even came in, and it's quite like I get here and they're just like the guys who play around town. But before I came here, these guys were sort of legendary, like guys who played on legendary records and sessions. And so like Red Young as well, I think is amazing. Piano player and organ player.
We have a
player called Matt Farrell that I think is amazing.
We have a surprising number of B3 players in this town.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, like well, we had a guy called Crystal Finger used to come play with us on Tuesdays. Great, but like Mike Flanagan is terrific. And Red, who I just mentioned, is a great piano player, but also a great organ player.
Right.
Matt Hubbard is one of the first people I started hanging out with when I came here. Yeah, they're just fantastic. They're all great. Yeah.
Right. Have you by any chance had a chance to hear Dr. James Polk?
No, I haven't. No.
Dr. Polk is pretty amazing. He plays on Monday nights in the gallery with Church on Monday, Elias Haslanger's.
Okay, I have heard him. I just didn't know that was.
Okay, that's Dr. James Polk. Yep. He's another one of those legendary guys, an East Austin musician. And so, do you follow guitarists at all?
Yeah, I love guitar. Yeah, love guitar.
And who are your favorite guitarists?
What, in town or
wherever?
Wherever. Well, guys in town that I really like. I think Willie Pipkin and Charco Jean. Fantastic players. And I think Eve is terrific.
Yes.
They're the people I've been very fortunate to play with a lot, those three. And there's others that I have not played with very often, but I think are also great. I think Sue Foley is terrific. I think Dave Biller is great. Red, I still think Red is awesome. I used to see him all the time when he played with Haybell. And I think if you ask me who my favourite guitarists in Austin are, they are all the guitarists in Austin. And Danny B. Harvey as well is great. Then in general, I love the great blues guitarists. Like I love Albert King, and I think John Lee Hooker. I love his guitar playing. It's very powerful rhythmic stuff. And I just saw like Chet Atkins and Mel Travis, those guys, like the picking type guitarists. There's one guy I love, this guy called Grady Martin, who's a session player.
Right.
He's on a lot of classic country stuff. A lot of Marty Robbins records. I think he plays great, fantastic guitar.
In your time here, have you ever gotten to hear James Burton live?
Actually, I've met James Burton. I met him when I went to see Jerry Lee Lewis in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
James Burton was there. And I went up to him and said, "Hi, I'm Henry." And he looked at me and said, "I'm Henry VIII, I am. And started singing that at me. And then I spoke to him for a little while. And James Burton is incredible, and he's on some of my favorite records.
Yeah, we've been fortunate to have him here at the club and at the Lone Star Roundup.
Oh yeah.
Times. And he's good friends with Casper Rawls, and so Casper has been bringing him to the Continental for a long time now.
Yeah.
And he's just amazing.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing for sure. You're certainly going to be able to have plenty of live influences available to you here.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Well, I say that, but of course, for the last 9 months, that hasn't been so true. And we'll probably have to wait several more months before that is true again. But nonetheless, has Austin lived up to your expectations?
Oh, it exceeded them. It's more and better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, there is still opportunity here for musicians. It's harder to make a living.
Yes, it is.
But it still is. It's a very supportive community.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's. I've noticed that. Very community. Yeah, it's everyone helping each other. Help each other out.
Right.
So I've lived in different places before and never had that experience to that extent. That community vibe of helping each other, helping each other out to try and benefit everyone.
Right.
And in situations in towns before, it's all about very competitive. It's very people are driven to be above and better than everyone else, and everyone's like that, and it's competitive, and it's not the same. I've noticed here it's everyone's helping each other out, and happy for other people to succeed, and happy for everyone to benefit. And I think that's the way that the music is stronger for that.
Right. It used to be in Austin that, because there was no real entertainment business here. This wasn't where managers or producers or record labels were located.
Yeah.
There were some, but it was very limited. And because of that, Austin became the place where you went to learn how to be in a band, to be a sideman, how to be a frontman, how to write songs, how to play instruments. All of the basics were done here. And then when you wanted to move into the higher echelon, you had to move to Nashville or New York or Chicago or LA, because the business was not here. But this was where you learned and you grew. And I think that it has remained that. And I think that we're going to come out of this with it being even more so that again.
I think so. I think because there's so much places to play, so many. There's just so much for that. What you just described, there's so many places to play and so many great influences to absorb here.
Right, and there wasn't any point in fighting over money gigs because there weren't any.
Yeah.
Nobody made any money. But then again, you could play 3 or 4 nights a week, have a job at Thundercloud, and still live in a house with a couple other guys. You could make next to nothing and still afford to live in Austin. But that's not possible anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Things have changed some. But, the best part of who we are is still there.
I think so. I mean, I wasn't around in those days around here, so I've heard about it a lot from other people. And, I can sense that is still here. Yes.
Do you have any plans for moving back to the UK?
No, I don't. Not yet. No. I love it here so much. I just want to stay here.
And does your family? Well, of course not now. But would they ever have been able to come and visit you here? Or
yeah, my folks came last February, just before the.
Oh, nice.
My folks came to visit, spent a couple of weeks here. They loved it.
Good.
I think they'll probably be able to come here before I can go back there.
And so, did you ever play in any formation with your dad or your grandfather or your cousins or any of your other musical relatives?
Oh yeah. When I was younger, my dad and my uncle used to jam when we were on holiday in France, and I used to get out a keyboard and play with them, and played loads with my granddad, loads when I was younger. Granddad plays like more jazz drums. He still plays. He's 94 now, living in France, but he still plays.
That's
So
awesome.
I played a lot with the family.
That's so cool. It's nice to hear of people having a generational music experience.
Yeah, and I found out that as well that recently that my great uncle was an accordion player in France. Like, and I had no idea, but my uncle did some research on that. Found a photo of him. And I had no idea. Like, he was a renowned accordion player. He used to travel around Europe.
Wow.
So yes, there's been some music in the family.
Yes, indeed. And so I know that that you've been playing the residency at Seaboys,
Yeah,
but you had another residency as well, did you?
I did. I had skull mechanics in on St Elmo, which unfortunately now is closed. That was a fantastic venue. It was a brewery. It was a brewery.
Oh yeah.
I used to do that on Thursdays, and it was a real treat to play there. I used to do it on my own, or sometimes I'd have an accompanist, or I used to do it a few times with this guy called Vin Mott, who's newly arrived at the time, harmonica player and singer, great blues harmonica player and singer. I used to do it with him sometimes. Sometimes I do it with Willie Pitkin, Walter Daniels, harmonica player.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes on my own. It was nice to do.
Mm-hmm. And you said that Dennis had offered you something at the White Horse. Did you do?
Oh yeah, when I first got here, I was started doing Mondays at the White Horse. This is 2 years back when the person, I can't remember who it was who did them regularly, was going away for a couple of months just as I arrived, so I asked me to cover. That's when I realised I had to slow everything down quite considerably for the dancers. And then I enjoyed it. There's a big learning experience. And I did that with Tom on the drums and Huck Johnson on the bass. And we did it as a
Love Huck.
That was great fun.
Do you get many dancers at your shows?
I've got more recently. I think I just had to learn more danceable music, which I didn't really do before. But since I did apply myself to learning more dancey music, I got more dancers coming in.
When you were playing in the UK, was it more kind of a concert situation, or was it, venues like here in Austin? What exactly was that background?
It was loads of different kinds of things, but in the main, it would be like a sit-down theatre type setting with a solo piano concert, or whatever you want to call it. And sometimes in a club with my band, a European band that I play with called Henri Herbert and the Fury. We were like a punk rock band, and so it would have been that. So it was either sitting still like this, or crazy mosh pits going down. So nothing like what it is over here.
Well, Henry, tell me if you have anything that you would like to. Oh, before that, I want to mention that Henry very, very graciously has suggested that anybody that would like to donate or tip do so to the Continental Club employees, which is the Continental Club, Seaboys Heart and Soul, and the Continental Gallery. And you can do that at www.continentalclub.com/closed, which I hate the name of that page. Or you can buy merch, which we have a really wide selection right now. Several bands have donated either existing artwork or have created new artwork to have t-shirts that are benefiting our employees at continentalclub.com/Austin-shop. And so at Henry's suggestion, you can make a donation, or you can buy merch and get something for your money.
Yeah, like this great T-shirt here.
Perfect.
Continental Club T-shirt.
The Black Dahlia.
Very
That's
happy
Steve's
to have.
card that's on the front.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Black Dahlia?
What, the
Black
T-shirt?
Dahlia is Steve's card that's on the front of that T-shirt.
Oh, yeah, I have seen it, yeah.
Mhm. I remember when he brought the Black Dahlia home, he drove by the back door of the Continental Club, and I happened to be standing in the doorway with the door open. And I said, "Oh, look, there goes my next raise." He loves his cars. God love him. Yes. And so are there any thoughts that you'd like to leave everyone with, Henry?
Yeah, I just I've been here nearly 2 years now, and I just want to thank all the promoters who offer me gigs, and thank all the people who come out to see me play, and I want to thank all the musicians that I've played with and helped me to get gigs when I first started coming here, because it was a lot. I thought I would have a great time in Austin, but it was so much even better than I thought it would be, and it's just because of all the great people here, like the fans and the dancers and the club owners. And, I just want a big thank you to everybody who's helped me out.
Well, you deserve everything that you get, because you're really a phenomenal talent. And it's certainly been our pleasure to host you on those Tuesday nights. And when
I appreciate it. I love those Tuesday nights. Hope we can get back to it at some point.
We'll be looking forward to that. So thanks y'all for tuning in, and thank you very much, Henry, for joining me.
Thank you.
And I hope that I see you soon.
Sure, hope so. Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.